What is going on, Internet? nerdlocker.com back again for more comic reviews. And this week, I'm starting off with Amazing X-Men #1. This is the book that has been telling everyone Nightcrawler's coming back. You gotta read this. And I just want to start off by saying Nightcrawler has always been my favorite X-Man. He always has been. And when he died, Saving Hope, I was crushed. But, it's a comic book, and I knew that we couldn't live without Nightcrawler forever. And he's back. And they do it in a really cool way. It's kind of like, it starts out kind of the same way with Kevin Smith when he brought back Green Arrow. So if you've read that, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, just read this book. I don't want to give too much away. There's a new teacher, too, at Wolverine's school, Jean Grey's, the Jean Grey Academy of Higher Learning, all that. This is great. It's written by Jason Aaron, who's doing Wolverine and the X-Men, so he already has a good handle on this cast of characters. And it's drawn by Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness is the best. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about this. Nightcrawler is back. It ends, the ending gave me, just chills because I was so stoked. And I can't wait to see the next issue because I think it's, really going to get to me emotionally because I love just the relationship Nightcrawler's always had with Wolverine. And this is going to be great. I love this book. It's 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Pick it up.
Hey guys, Protectors Inc. #1 comes out this week, which is the new #1 out of Image and J. Michael Straczynski. If you don't know, this is kind of a story like The Watchmen, whereas a group of superheroes, one of them dies or is murdered, and they have to figure out who it is. It's a little bit different because this is a world where villains actually don't exist, and superheroes exist because of sponsorships and promotional reasons, and that's it. So for a murder to happen within a superhero community, a superpowered community, and them not know who it was, it really kind of puts everything on edge. This is not J. Michael Straczynski's usual title, in my opinion. It does not read the same way, but that's not a bad thing. I have enough faith to see where this goes. I'm going to pick up the next one. The art was great, so I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. You should check it out.
Hey fellow nerds, Jasper here, and I just got done reading Cataclysm, The Ultimate's Last Stand. This issue is freaking nuts. We have Galactus, who's been pulled out of the 616 universe and is dropped right smack dab in the middle of the Ultimates universe. None of the superheroes know who he is, as he wreaks havoc, just destroys everything in sight. And as each superhero and S.H.I.E.L.D. try to figure things out on who this character is, just the issue itself is just pure destruction. The artwork is phenomenal. Galactus just wreaks havoc, and that's the whole point of the issue. Definitely, this is a great introductory for this little mini-series. Definitely pick it up. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there, nerds. Jim here with my review of Quantum and Woody #5. No surprise, big fan of Quantum and Woody. Huge fan of James Asmus taking over. His reboot of the book is great. I love what he's been doing. 5, though, it's not a filler. It's sort of easing us into, I guess, normalcy. And I say it that way because, man, was he getting us a high cocaine-induced, holy crap, Edison-hating group of scientists. Actually, they loved Edison. They just hated people. But, wow, awesome. And now we're kind of getting to the everyday, this is Quantum and this is Woody. And it's not boring. He still has the great humor. We open right with Quantum dreaming a crazy-ass dream, and it's funny because it's in Quantum's head versus what you would think might be Woody. And then we're introduced to 69, which is hilarious, obviously, because it's the number, but it's one of the clones from the Edison group, and she's 69. But it really is kind of just, okay, Eric and Woody going through their everyday lives, now that they have these special powers, how they're going to deal with it. It does give us a little tease at the end in how somebody might be taking advantage of the fact that there's some superpowers to be had, but it really is kind of a filler. I understand that. It's okay. These things happen. But because of that, I'm only going to be able to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. But, don't ditch the book. Stay tuned because obviously something big's coming.
All right, I got to read Forever Evil #3. We get to see the climax of the battle with Black Adam and Ultraman, if you read the Justice League tie-in. And it's pretty heavy. Some crazy things happen here. We see Lex Luthor out with Bizarro. I mean, I guess he's not named that yet, but we know who it is. It's Bizarro. And I guess this is the issue, kind of formulating a plan here with all the villains. We find out where the Justice League of America, and Justice League Dark are. It's kind of a cooler idea than what I thought. It makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking. I get kind of a Civil War or a Secret Invasion feel reading this book. Just maybe the setup they're going for when this book ends might be going for the same thing that Secret Invasion did, with like a bad guy stopping the bad guys, and now the bad guys are viewed as good guys. I don't know. That's just my prediction. But it's still a really good read. The artwork's still great. Jeff Johns this is a really good, is a great, event book for the New 52. I'm still enjoying it. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Another number 1 out of Image Comics this week with Alex and Ada. From half of the Luna brothers, this is from Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn, and I have to say this is one of my favorite comics to come out of Image in a long time, and that's just reading the first issue. If you don't know the premise, it's about a future where companion androids exist. These are people that, robots that are built strictly for us to, I guess, not really mate with, because obviously I don't think that's possible, but it read really, really well. I love the way this story was laid out, and it really kind of reminds me of the time when we decide that we need to get a new iPod. The way that he decides he needs a new companion is really great, or how it's decided for him, I should say. I'm not going to give too much away, but it was a great book, and you should pick it up, and that's why I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
I just got done reading Batman Superman issue 5. The dynamics between Batman and Superman are very transparent. You have the veteran Batman and still the rookie/newbie Superman. As they're doing their own things, kicking ass and taking names as Batman fights one of Superman's villains, as Superman has his own things to do. The main concept of the book is Toyman is tinkering around and just causing mayhem between both of them. And what's more of a surprise is a, villain within the, Justice League continuum shows up, and that was just totally unexpected, and he just does what he does. So definitely check this out. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So I got to read Ghostbusters number 9. Now, I'm going to be honest because I don't want to get all the hate mail in the comments below. I haven't read Ghostbusters in forever. To be honest, the last Ghostbusters I've been in touch with was Ghostbusters 2 recently, but then the cartoons before that, and then when Ghostbusters 2 and 1 came out originally. So it's been a long time. So jumping on board, I was like, okay, let's have some fun. And it was fun. It's cool because they pick up right on October 29th, obviously leading into Halloween. And we're dealing with Jack the Stingy, or Stingy Jack. And it's a character I had no idea who it was, but he basically bested the devil several times over. He's not allowed into hell. They won't take him in heaven. So where does he go? Why not New York City, and let's terrorize things. And it's really cool the tone that they grab with Egon, Venkman, and Ray, and the whole feel of the Ghostbusters, basically. It takes off with the mayor still involved with the office, trying to make sure that he's in some kind of control with them and can use PR in a good way, which is great because that's exactly what they did in the movies. And I love how, Bill Murray is such a great character in Ghostbusters as Venkman, but they don't try and match that in the comic. They sort of take what Venkman is, but they turn it on its ear just a little bit, and they don't try and put Bill Murray in a comic book. They take Venkman and they make him his own character. And I really appreciated that. Egon and Ray are basically dead on. But I really, really enjoyed this book. It was a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see where Stingy Jack goes and how the Ghostbusters are able to take him on. Of course, I off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Ernie Hudson's character's in it, and I really loved his character in the movies. And he's great to see him back in here. He's sort of getting picked on by Stingy Jack, but it works out really well. I highly recommend this book. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Earth 2, number 17. As we all know from the last issue, the big bad guy, the big, evil killer is Superman. Superman, who we thought died at the beginning of the Earth 1 series. Now the Power Girl and Huntress are in the New 52 world here on Earth 2. We thought Superman was dead. He's not. He totally serves Darkseid, which was this crazy twist, and he is just killing people. He's taking people out. And meanwhile, we get a closer look at the new Batman. they hint at who he is. I mean, it's so vague. I have no idea who he is. But they find this area where all of the villains, I guess, have been kept. I guess that's what they did here on this Earth too, is just kept them all in this like stasis that they couldn't get out. And new Batman's like, hey, guess what? This is what we need to stop Superman. We got to release them all. He's like, I've been a hero and a villain, so this is what has to be done. We need madmen. So I'm interested to see who Batman is. I really can't wait to see. I know that's going to be answered in the annual, but I still love this book because I enjoy the alternate stories and stuff, and I like that this is alternate, but it's not completely crazy out there. It's still grounded enough that I can read it like a regular book and not think I'm reading a mini-series. I'm giving this book 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. You need to check it out.
So I got to read Daredevil number 6. The opening page was great. It's basically a rundown of the history of Matt Murdock as told by Fred Van Lent. And I'm a big Fred Van Lent fan. I really love what he's been doing on Archer and Armstrong over in Valiant. So big fan. It's just one page and it's great. I know it. I've been there. Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. Great re-intro to the character, but it obviously tells me, okay, we're at the start of a story arc. Fantastic. Flip the page and Matt Murdock is taking a star witness down to Miami to testify against not the biggest of big wigs, but a pretty big dude in the organized crime. And it's kind of slow, but I get why, because they're setting up the story. In Miami, though, he meets up with Misty Knight. Okay, something more is going on. This is not just the normal, let's take a witness down. So from there, all hell breaks loose. The crime syndicate is trying to get the star witness back so they can obviously take care of him. The Tarantula gang from Miami is the one doing the bad stuff, and they hint to a new kingpin. But it's not that kingpin. They're just saying kingpin of organized crime. So I'm curious where this is going to go. There's a lot of sexual tension between Matt Murdock and Misty Knight, which I kind of find weird because she's, dating, not Matt Murdock. So like, okay, cool, using your sexuality, whatever. That's cool. It leaves you hanging, wanting to know more, but at the same time, it's not my favorite Daredevil story. So I'm going to read to find out more because I love Daredevil, but I can understand why you might not want to because it really doesn't bring you into The Man Without Fear. So I'm only going to give it an even 3 Nerd Skulls out of 5.
I got to read Iron Man number 18. Spoiler alert. This whole thing's a spoiler alert. If you haven't been reading Iron Man or been living under a rock with the new comic news, just don't watch this if you want to be surprised when reading or whatever. Last issue we found out that Tony Stark is indeed adopted. He is not the actual son of Howard Stark. And we have met the actual son, Arno, who's been hiding from this robot, 451, that has been the villain in this whole secret origin of Tony Stark story. And we kind of see them getting ready to start working on the world together. They're going to put their 2 great minds together to build a new world. And it starts off 30 years in the future, but it turns out it's just a crazy doomsday simulation. And it's just them kind of picking apart what they're going to do now that they know about each other, now that they have this technology of 451, his body, because he's not in there, he's dead. It's a neat jumping on point if you haven't been reading. And then the last part of the book sets up for a new group of villains, I'm going to say, because if you're a fan of Iron Man, you know the history of Mandarin and his rings. They just allude to something here, and it actually has me really stoked. The whole adopted thing, I like it. I think this is cool. I'm on board with Iron Man. I'm giving this 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So I got to read Action Comics number 25. It takes part with the whole 0 year in Batman. Now, I like the concept. I'm like, man, and I do like what they've been doing with Batman. I think that 0 year is fantastic, the way they've been telling the story of Bruce Wayne and Alfred becoming Batman. I love that. I like the concept. Hey, let's experiment with what the other superheroes were doing as Batman is basically making his claim in Gotham. Cool, let's see it. It was disappointing. It really was. I got to give it out. I really enjoyed the art and the way the panels were laid out. That was cool. But I was really not terribly interested in the story. It involves a lot of Lana Lang, which is no problem. That's cool. And Clark confesses his love to her, which is cool, but she knows we can't be together. You have to be Superman, Clark Kent. You've told me your plans, what you want to do, big picture. I can't be a part of that. I got to go explore and do my own thing. Cool, whatever. But then we're introduced to a gang, which is cool. They have really good techno and their equipment and high electronics, and they take him on, and he really has to stretch his powers for one of the first times. And that's it. It's done. It's whatever. And he's like, oh, man, I'm pretty stoked I got to do that. And there's a big hurricane heading towards Gotham. Let me go take on the hurricane. It's like, what? We were doing something pretty good with this gang over here. We're going to go take on a storm? I really was lost interest. I was really bummed. He obviously failed in stopping the hurricane, but of course, Lana Lang was on a boat in the hurricane and saved her without knowing he saved her, of course. And then they have the story in the back of the book, which to me was even more like, what? Really? I don't understand what you're doing. It involved Clark Kent again, obviously, and Lana Lang, again, she's an engineer at a drill site, scientist doing research, and finds that, hey, don't drill like that, whatever, and then monsters come out at the very end, teasing something. But I'll be honest, I wasn't interested enough to stick around to find out more. So I'm really bummed at this. I thought there was a lot of potential. I can only give this 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.